Well, welcome back to day two on Psych by Z, and we're just going to talk about some lessons that we kind of learned today, and it was just kind of learning about neural knowledge, and his most recent YouTube video was really good, and I think it was talking about this frequency, and I've really been learning and immersing myself into like what these people are talking about in terms of quantum physics. And one of the lines
Most
that
people
really
don't
stood out to
actually.
me in this video that really resonated to me was how he talks about this subconscious mind. And if you think about it, one piece of information that really stood out to me is that the conscious mind processes 50 bits of information per second, but the subconscious mind processes 11 million bits of information. Now, I don't really understand what bits is being used as a measure here, but 50 bits to 11 million sounds like a shit ton more to me. So, there's definitely something worth investigating in terms of us not even being aware of what our subconscious mind operates and consists of. So that's kind of what led me to really be curious about what these guys have to say, and I would even suggest like anybody even who's heard of these kind of things really takes the plunge and goes into their own subconscious mind to try and understand what emotional wirings and what triggers and everything that exists in that inside us there. I'd invite you to go and discover what that is, because you can start controlling things about your life and start understanding why things are happening the way they're happening, because it all occurs in that, let's say, dimension, if for lack of a better term. Because one of the things this guy says as well is, in order for something to exist physically, it must exist vibrationally. That's one of the big things that these guys talk about, these quantum physics, gurus, and Neil is definitely one of the good ones out there that I've been learning a lot from. But he mentioned something really interesting about his YouTube channel, you see, and that's something like I mentioned on my previous video, was the emotional association. Okay, emotional association with him, what he believes and thinks and feels about being seen. So this was the biggest kind of like how do you say, this was his biggest center of focus when he started trying to identify how his channel is growing and why it's growing the way it is, and how does he kind of leap forward to kind of take it to the next level. And obviously the whole part of being on social media consists of being okay with being seen, and for people to really see you for who you are, and show up and be present in a way that's authentic to yourself, going back to what we talked about in the previous video, being authentic. And he explained how the emotional association he had with being seen, because he grew up in cancer estate, was negative. It was, you had to lay low, because being seen was not a virtue. It was not something that was gonna get you a lot of things. You had to lay low, you had to stay on guard, stay alert, have your head on a swivel, you're getting robbed, you're getting G-checked. That's the reality. And he explains about this, and this is his observed experience, and also his um like physical experience that happened when he was growing up in the hood. And he talks about that. And being, I think all of us, like, if we really think about how we feel about being seen, what really, what kind of subconscious emotional feelings and what emotional associations we have with being seen, it's not always a good thing. If you look at how much fear comes in when all of those things happen, and how much shame, how much guilt, how much resistance. Again, that's another big word. So even for myself, like right now, there's a lot of, I don't know if you can tell, but there is a lot of nervousness in my voice. There's a lot of calculations in me trying to make sure that what I'm saying is the right thing. And that begs me to even investigate, where did I get all of these from? All of these things from? Where did the initial emotional association occur in my life for me to feel this way about being seen? Because I'm in front of a camera, I'm trying to speak freely, and be at ease and at peace in doing so. In terms of the emotional association that we have about being seen, where did these associations come from? And it's really important we really like kind of tap into these things and really take the time and spend the time to really understand what associations we do have about a certain belief system we have, and you might think about a certain way about being seen, right? That's just the paradigm that exists within your subconscious mind. Now, when you obviously do the work necessary that you need to do to obviously bring this forward, in order for you to investigate it, see whether you like what's in there and change it, that's going to be very uncomfortable, because depending on how old you are as well, like that could be set in stone. But bringing that part of your brain and of your subconscious mind forward is not going to be an easy task, because that's in your operating system, that's been inside you for God knows how many years, and that's been on the driver's seat about everything that's going on in your life. And for example, if you look at what past experience may have caused a really, really strong emotional experience, right? Whether that's to do with money, and how did you feel about money growing up? And I'm saying these things, but I'm only just self-reflecting about how I felt about money when I was growing up, and what was the emotional association that took place when it came to money? What beliefs are currently lingering inside my subconscious mind that took place, that came to fruition, and it were installed there without me realizing, because of an emotional experience or because of an observed experience? Because those are the two ways that an emotional association that becomes into a belief system take place. That's how they get installed. It can be through the observed, either observed, or it can be through a physical experience where your sensations, your bodies, you go through that experience. So these are the two ways. And if I look at money, for example, like there was never really a lot of it. So if there's not a lot of it, then everything that kind of costed a lot of money felt painful, and the brain, at least my brain, and to what I understand in terms of what I've been learning, is that we have a brain is designed to do something, to operate in a way that avoids pain, right? Regardless of anything that's painful. It doesn't have its judgment of its own, and I like this, I like money and it's painful, so I'm gonna go after money. That's not how it sees things. It doesn't see things through whether you like it or not. It sees it as whatever the emotional association to that particular thing was. And if pain was the emotional let's say factor when it came to money, then that is what's going to get stored there. And I don't want pain to be I don't want pain to be the factor that's stored when it comes to money. I want abundance to be what's stored when it comes to money. So this is part of the work that I think we all have to kind of do, which is go deep into our minds and understand that what subconscious beliefs exist within our paradigm, within our own subconscious minds, that we really that exist there, and which of those are really beneficial to us, and do the work necessary to eradicate, review, and change anything that doesn't serve us. Because if I just stop here and carry on with my life and I can say as many times as I want a lot of money, I want to make 10K a month, I want to achieve all my goals, financially free, break free from the 9 to 5 or whatnot. I can say all of those things that require an abundance of money, but from where it's coming from and from the operating system that I'll be navigating life through stems from pain, because money was associated as painful because there was so little of it. So the emotional experiences that I went through were the opposite of the operating system that I now need to attract all of it and attract as much as I want from it. And so I have to change this, and you really need to start feeling the opposite of pain. I mean, in this context specifically, you can't attract an abundance of money when your operating system is, and your subconscious mind has pain associated with it. So I need to change that. And one example of change would be maybe feeling good about receiving money and having a lot of it, but not just that, fundamentally as a baseline, because this is another thing as well. The baseline is where we operate from, because if feeling good about money is not my baseline emotion, then I'll always feel like I'm trying to chase something that I don't have, and that's pretending, that's fake it till you make it, in a way. But yeah, I hope this has been helpful. Video's getting slightly longer than 10 minutes than I wanted, but this is some of my thoughts that I gathered about today. And even with what Nero said, like, that was what he felt about being seen, you see, because when he understood that, he started to investigate the emotional associations and the subconscious beliefs that he had about being seen and how he was raised. He had to investigate those and change them. And only then did his goal of wanting, like, let's say, to reach a larger audience, to be seen by more people, right? Because that's the goal. That was his goal, to be seen by more people. Only when he changed his baseline about his desired outcome did he truly start to grow his channel, and did abundance start to flow his way in terms of follow accounts in that manner. And it's the same in any kind of pursuit you might set yourself to. So if there's one thing you can take away from this video, it's always self-reflect, always question, approach your own decisions with a curious mind. Be your own third-party observer of your decision making, and from what lens and from what operating system are you really making these decisions from, and are you happy with that? Would you want to maintain the same operating system to achieve goals you've never achieved before? And are those the values that you want to keep? Is that the baseline emotion and the associations to the desired outcome? Are those the ones you want to keep, or do they require change? Are they asking for change? Peace.